Good evening, everybody. It is now 6 o'clock p.m. on Thursday, July 30th, 2026. This public hearing is now open. This event is being recorded and will be posted for public review. My name is Davis Murphy. I am the Regional Supervisor from the Division of Air Quality's Winston-Salem Regional Office. I have been appointed to be the hearing officer for this public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive your comments for consideration in the issuance of two separate air quality permits. The first permit is for the Amazon Data Services, Inc. Energy Way Tech Campus. Amazon has submitted an application for a new facility consisting of 588 critical diesel-fired emergency engines for backup power at a data center site. The address of this site is 1761 Airport Road, Hamlet, Richmond County, NC. The second permit is for the Duke Energy Progress, LLC, Richmond County Turbine Site. Duke Energy Richmond has submitted an application for modification of its existing facility to install 57 diesel-fired non-emergency engines for a time-limited period. The address of the site is 198 Energy Way, Hamlet, Richmond County, NC. All forms of comments will be received and all will have equal consideration in the final decision on whether to issue each respective permit. Amazon requested that the Division of Air Quality host a public hearing for this proposed air quality permit. The Director of the Division of Air Quality, Mike Abrazinskis, has decided to also conduct a public hearing for the proposed Duke Energy Richmond air quality permit. The DAQ determined that co-hosting the hearings for each permit was appropriate due to the association of the proposed permits and significant public interest in both projects. The public hearing announcement was originally published in the Richmond County Daily Journal on June 27th, 2026, and on the Division of Air Quality's website on June 26, 2026. During this public hearing, we'll be receiving oral comments from those individuals who registered to speak at this event. If you have not registered to speak but wish to provide oral comments, please return to the registration table in the lobby to sign up. Joining me for this hearing tonight are representatives from the Department of Environmental Quality and the Division of Air Quality's Raleigh Central Office, Winston-Salem Regional Office, and Fayetteville Regional Office. From the Raleigh Central Office, we have Taylor Hartsfield, the Deputy Director for Air Quality, Sean Taylor, Division of Air Quality's Public Information Officer, Mark Sawilla, the Title V Permitting Section Chief, Emily Supple, Permit Engineer for the Amazon Air Quality Permit application, Russell Braswell, Permit Engineer for the Duke Energy Richmond Air Quality Permit application, Alan Holmes, Public Affairs Director for the Department of Environmental Quality, Paige Azarita, Community Engagement Coordinator for the Department of Environmental Quality, David Payne, Director of Intergovernmental Affairs and Economic Development for the Department of Environmental Quality. From the Winston-Salem Regional Office, we have Deontay Sutton, Environmental Engineer. From the Fayetteville Regional Office, we have Heather Carter, Regional Supervisor, and other Fayetteville Regional Office staff, including Jeffrey Cole, Joshua Lohman, Christina Graham, Guara Vinegar, Calumet Mountain, and Anna Grace McCall. I would like to thank Full Circle Interpreting, who will be providing simultaneous Spanish interpretation during the public hearing. Our interpreters, Jose and Felipe, are located in the back of the room. Please be aware they will be translating live in their headsets throughout this event. I would like to thank any local city or county officials who may have joined tonight. We appreciate your interest in the applications and draft permits. The comment period for these draft permits opened on Friday, June 26, 2026, and will close on Friday, July 31st, 2026. In addition to your oral comments tonight, the Division is also accepting comments via email to daq.publiccomments at deq.nc.gov with the subject line Amazon.25A and Duke Richmond.26C, and by phone to a voicemail box at 919-707-8726. Also, if you have written comments that you wish to submit, we have a box available near the microphone. It's actually that microphone over there, the box over there. All forms of comments will be received and all will have equal consideration in the final decision on whether to issue these permits. Copies of the permit applications, the draft permits, the draft permit reviews, and other information concerning these permit applications are available to the public at the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality's Fayetteville Regional Office, which is located at 225 Green Street, Suite 714, Fayetteville, NC, and the Division of Air Quality's Central Office, Air Permitting Section, located at 217 West Jones Street, Suite 4000 in Raleigh, NC. These materials are available during normal business hours at these locations. Please call in advance to make an appointment. A copy of the draft air permits and draft permit review are also available on the Division of Air Quality's website at ncair.org. That's ncair.org in the section titled Public Notices. The order of events for this hearing is as follows. First, Emily Supple, permit engineer, will discuss the application and draft air quality permit for Amazon Data Services. Second, Russell Braswell, permit engineer, will discuss the application and draft air quality permit for Duke Energy Richmond. This will be followed by the public comment period. Only those individuals who have registered to speak will be called on to present oral comments. To hear as many speakers as possible, oral statements will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. We want to provide as much time as possible for all speakers to be heard. This public hearing is scheduled to adjourn no later than 9:00 p.m. tonight. We will call the names of each registered speaker in order of your registration. When a speaker is called, I will also announce the name of the next speaker in the queue so they can prepare to provide comments. Please proceed to the microphone when your name is called. Your time will start when you begin speaking. We will keep track of your time and will announce when your 3 minutes have expired. Please respect the time of all who wish to present oral comments tonight by adhering to the time limits and closing your remarks as quickly as possible once time is up. Cross-examination of the person presenting comments or me, the hearing officer, will not be allowed. However, as hearing officer, I may ask questions to the speaker for clarification. Questions directed to the Division of Air Quality staff members will not be answered during this hearing. If you have questions for DAQ staff, we can provide you with our contact information so you may contact us during normal office hours. We ask that when recognized speakers are presenting their comments, the audience refrain from making noise, including applauding, talking over speakers, or making any other noise that could impact the integrity of the audio recording of tonight's hearing. This ensures that I can hear all public comments clearly, that all public comments can be captured as part of the official record, and that all speakers are treated with respect when it is their turn to speak. After receiving comments this evening, the public hearing will be closed. However, the period for submitting comments does not close until Friday, July 31st, 2026. Again, all forms of comments will be received and all will have equal consideration in the final decision on whether to issue the permit. I will now call on Emily Supple to discuss the Amazon application and draft air quality permit.
Good evening. My name is Emily Supple. I'm a permit engineer with North Carolina Division of Air Quality, assigned to review of the Amazon Data Services application. Amazon Data Services, Inc., Energy Wave Tech Campus, or simply Amazon, has applied to construct and operate a data center facility that will operate diesel-fired generators to provide backup power in emergencies. The emission sources of the proposed facility will consist of 588 critical diesel-fired emergency generators, 4 ancillary diesel-fired emergency generators, 592 diesel fuel 21 diesel fuel bulk storage tanks. This facility will be classified as a major source with respect to the Title V permitting program with expected potential emissions of nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, and particulate matter above the Title V major source thresholds. This facility will be classified as a minor source with respect to the Prevention of Significant Deterioration, or PSD, permitting program by accepting a permit condition to limit emissions of nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic compounds to below the applicable PSD major source threshold of 250 tons per year for each pollutant. As part of the proposed PSD avoidance condition, emissions of nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic compounds from the 588 diesel-fired generators will be controlled by catalytic emission control units, one for each engine, consisting of a catalytic diesel particulate filter and a selective catalytic reduction system utilizing ammonia urea injection. The permittee shall monitor catalyst bed temperature and engine exhaust temperature to determine effective control device operation. Emissions of nitrogen oxides and carbon monoxide will be monitored through monthly calculations using the emission factors as presented in the application, and operational data that will be continuously monitored, including catalyst bed temperature, engine exhaust temperature, fuel consumption rate, and urea injection rate. Compliance with the emission limit for volatile organic compounds shall be determined through compliance with testing, monitoring, record-keeping, and reporting requirements for carbon monoxide. The emission factors for nitrogen oxides and carbon monoxide will be verified through initial and annual stack testing. Stack testing will occur at 90% engine load to capture a high emission rate while operating in normal conditions. In other words, not during startup or during shutdown. The new emergency engines, including the critical engines and the ancillary engines, will all be subject to federal regulations, including national emission standards for hazardous air pollutants, also called NESHAP, subpart 4Z, and New Source Performance Standards, also called NSPS, subpart 4I. Amazon evaluated potential emissions of toxic air pollutants from this facility. They conservatively modeled emissions of toxic air pollutants, assuming 500 hours per year of operation for each engine, but each engine will actually operate significantly less than 500 hours per year, which is enforced by the PSD avoidance condition. This modeling demonstrated that each pollutant was less than their respective acceptable ambient level. The modeling was approved by the Division's Air Quality Analysis Branch on June 17, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. I will now call on Russell Braswell to discuss the Duke Energy Richmond application and draft air quality permit.
Good evening. My name is Russell Braswell. I'm the engineer of North Carolina Division of Air Quality. So I'm going to review Duke Energy Richmond's application. Duke Energy Richmond operates a power plant, which is also a Smith Energy complex. Is it better? Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. Good evening. My name is Russell Braswell. I'm the engineer with the North Carolina Division of Air Quality. So I will review Duke Energy Richmond's application. Duke Energy Richmond operates a power plant, which is also a Smith Energy complex. This facility currently generates electricity for the power grid, which is simple cycle and combined cycle combustion turbines. Duke Energy Richmond proposes to operate 54 identical large non-emergency diesel generators, 3 smaller non-emergency diesel generators, and 9 diesel storage tanks in order to generate electricity specifically to support Amazon while a permanent connection to power grid is constructed. Duke Energy refers to this project as bridge power and will operate the generators for less than $1 million. Duke Energy Richmond facility is an existing major stationary source under the PSD. This application proposes emission limits and operator limits such that the bridge power project does not constitute a major modification under PSD. The bridge power generators will be located on land owned by Amazon and adjacent to the Smith Energy complex across Airport Road. Because the generators will be adjacent to and owned and operated by an existing major stationary source, DAQ determined that the bridge power generators should be considered as part of Duke Energy Richmond's existing major stationary source, rather than part of Amazon's new facility or entirely separate and permanent. Because the generators generators are being added to an existing major stationary source. They are subject to the emission threshold for a major modification. Note that the threshold for a major modification is much lower than for a new major stationary source. In other words, because the bridge power project is included with Duke's permit rather than Amazon's, it is subject to a much lower annual emission limit. In order for the bridge power project to avoid being a major modification under PSD, emissions will be limited to 40 tons per year of nitrogen oxides and 100 tons per year of carbon monoxide. The generators will be considered stationary sources and will be subject to federal regulations, including NESHAP subpart 4Z and NSPS subpart 4I. Emissions will be controlled by diesel particulate filters, selective catalytic reduction, and oxidation catalysts. As required by NSPS 4I, these generators and their associated emission control devices must be operated according to manufacturer's requirements. The draft permit requires that Duke Energy Richmond perform emission testing to verify that the generators comply with the applicable emission limits. The draft permit also requires that the bridge power generators not be operated for more than 364 days and includes a limit on the total amount of diesel fuel burnt by the generators. In this application, Duke Energy evaluated potential emissions of toxic air pollutants using air dispersion modeling. The modeling includes the bridge power project and the existing turbines. This modeling demonstrated that each pollutant was less than their respective acceptable annual level. This modeling was approved by the Division of Air Quality Analysis Permit on June 18, 2026. The draft permit includes conditions that ensure ambient levels of all pollutants beyond the facility's fence line comply with federal and state emission standards, including applicable health-based standards. The facility will be subject to record keeping and reporting requirements and regular inspections. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. At this time, we will hear from those who registered to provide oral comments this evening. When your name is called, please proceed to the microphone. To ensure our records are complete, please clearly state your name and who you're representing. Your comments will be recorded, so please speak clearly towards the microphone, which is right up here. I'll do my best to pronounce your names correctly, and I apologize in advance for any errors. We'll now begin taking comments. Calumet is our timekeeper right here, and there are signs that will tell you when your time is nearing expiration and then expired. The first commenter will be Shane Ingram, followed by Yolande Steele.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sean, S-H-A-U-N, Grady Ingram. Local Native Richmond County Born and Raised Richmond County Coalition for Justice and Black Empowerment is our organization. Amazon and Duke Energy are seeking permits from North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality to install 649 diesel generators to power Amazon's hyperscale data center in Hamlet. These generators will worsen air quality and living conditions in Richmond County and continue the genocide of our people. The granting of permits to supply power to Amazon data center must require several measures of extra care to prevent further deterioration of air quality in an area with a vulnerable population already impacted by several pollutant industries. The Division of Air Quality must deny these permits as written. The Division of Air Quality must require pre-construction monitoring and the addition of monitoring equipment close to the site. The closest monitors are 30 miles away. All of the generators that the Division of Air Quality has allowed Amazon and Duke to split into separate permit applications must be treated as one major source of air pollution with more stringent limits and monitoring. The permit must require air dispersion modeling to ensure that the operations of all of the over 600 diesel generators would not cause air quality violations that could harm the surrounding community. Amazon has already started construction. Presuming these permits will be granted exactly as Amazon and Newton has applied, these proposed installations and operations of these generators must be treated as a single new major air pollution source. And the ongoing construction is a significant violation of federal and state law. Thank you.
Please refrain from clapping. We're trying to get through as many speakers as possible tonight, so anytime you can cut down on that, will just help us get through more speakers. So thank you very much.
Okay, next up we have Yolande Steele, followed by Reverend G. Rebecca Warren.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Steele. I'm speaking today not only for myself, but my residents who have lived in the community for years. I know many of you are here to discuss the AI data centers and what that means to our future and our air pollution. While those conversations are important, I ask that you remember families who have already been living along existing industrial operations in our community, including the rock quarry and the wood pellets. For years, our residents have been exposed to a number of different air quality issues: dust, heavy traffic, noise, which is what you all are going to also encounter. We are not here because we oppose the business and the opportunity for growth. We are here because DEQ and other organizations at PEA are not regulating them properly. When companies apply for permits, agencies establish regulations and permit conditions that companies are expected to follow. These rules are designed to protect our environment and our communities. However, the residents believe that being affected by these same operations, it feels like we are not equally strong in the system in place to protect the people who live here. Communities deserve to know when their reports or concerns are being received and fair. I have contacted DEQ, I've talked to Tasia, Adam, Kay, Josh, Tim, everyone up there concerning air quality issues in Richmond County already and have been unheard. We are asking today for you to look beyond the fact that they're not here yet, but that our future is going to be really affected because you all are not looking at the future, you're looking at it right now. Today I respectfully ask you to show the community transparency, meaningful public participation, actually coming out and trying to address the issue. Thank you.
So we can get through the speakers in a timely fashion. So if it continues to be a problem, we will have to end the hearing.
All right, so our next two speakers. All right, next we have Reverend G. Rebecca Warren, followed by Denise Quarar.
Good evening. My name is Reverend G. Rebecca Warren, and I have the honor of serving as pastor of William Chapel in Zion Church, located on Osborne Road in Hamlet, North Carolina. Our church sits about a half a mile from the Amazon Center and Duke Energy. Many of our members and their families live in the neighborhoods surrounding Airport Road and the center. First, I want to thank you for providing the opportunity for public input. We recognize that economic development can bring new jobs, increase investment, and opportunities for our community. We're not opposed to progress. However, we believe progress should never come at the expense of the health, safety, and quality of life of the people who already call this community home. Our church has served this community for generations. It's more than a building. It's a place of worship, a place of fellowship, community outreach, and hope. The families we serve deserve assurance that their health and well-being will remain a priority as these projects move forward. The proposed installation of hundreds of emergency generators and fuel storage tanks raises legitimate questions. While we understand these generators are intended primarily for emergency use and routine testing, we are concerned about cumulative impacts, including air quality, noise, increased traffic, and long-term character of the community. As a pastor, I am especially concerned for our children, our senior citizens, and individuals living with asthma, heart disease, or other respiratory conditions. Even if emissions are projected to remain within regulatory limits, our congregation would like to understand how these conclusions were reached and what safeguards will be in place to ensure they remain accurate over time. On behalf of Wayman Chapel Ensign Church, I respectfully ask that the department and the applicants consider the following. Conduct ongoing air quality and noise monitoring with results made available to the public. Limit generator testing during church worship services and other activities. Maintain open and transparent communications with nearby residents and community leaders regarding testing schedules, emergencies, and future expansion. Ensure that emergency response plans are clearly communicated to nearby residents, churches, and schools. Continue engaging the community as partners throughout the life of this project, not just during permitting process. Economic growth and environmental stewardship do not have to be opposing goals. We believe they can coexist when decisions are guided by transparency, accountability, and genuine respect for communities more directly affected. As Scripture reminds us in Jeremiah 29:7, seek the peace and prosperity of the city, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. We desire prosperity for Richmond County, but we also seek peace, health, and protection for every family who lives, worships, and works here.
All right, so next up we have Denise Corrard, followed by William Robert Ingram.
Good afternoon, my name is Cozart.
My apologies.
Denise Cozart, no problem. My question is for both. My question is about the shared generator footprint between Amazon and Duke Energy. I need these three specific questions answered. First, were Duke and Amazon Energy generator emissions, were they modeled together as a single combined emission source, or were they modeled separately as if they will operate in isolation? Because of PM 2.5, which is defined particulate matter small enough to enter into the bloodstream, and the NOx, which is the nitrogen oxygen that forms smog and ozone, it doesn't care which company produces it. Residents within a 10-mile radius breathe the combined total, not needing two separate permits. So I want to be clear with the answer. Was this a combined modeling or is it separate modeling? Which one was done? What are the numerical projected increases? Not federal guidelines within limits, minimal, but actual numbers for the PM 2.5 and the NOx and things of particular matter at the nearest home, school, and healthcare facility inside that 10-mile radius. And were those projections compared against our community's realistic asthmatic, COPD, and respiratory hospitalization rates? Or were they compared against the generic statewide baseline that does not reflect the health entities or realities of Richmond County? If you use statewide averages instead of our local data, we'd like that explained clearly. And finally, if the combined emissions from both facilities exceed what is modeled once both are operating, who's accountable? Is that DEQ, Amazon, or Duke Energy? Right now, every answer that I've heard avoids the question, and I'm not asking whether each permit individually meets the threshold. I'm asking whether anyone who has evaluated both facilities together means for the people who live here. And if the analysis was done, would you say that clearly? Which is possible. Thank you.
All right, next we have William Robert Ingram, followed by Ann Ingram.
Good evening, everyone. My name is William Robert Ingram, as you heard. I am a member and co-founder of Richmond County Coalition for Justice and Black Empowerment, and I'm here today to really just speak very candidly. I did write something that I wanted to say, but I think that this is a good time to kind of speak from the dome, right? We already know that these gas turbine generators are going to cause a huge detriment to our community. I want to speak about somebody that's no longer here. Her name is Deborah David, right? She was a citizen of Diamond Heights. She fought for against Viva and the wood pellet company being put into her community for over 24 years. And she lost her life in July of 2024 from the same illness that she was experiencing in her community. That was a result of the wood pellet company. And she passed away. So we gotta make sure that what we're saying to these guys up here today really registers to you, right? You're here, this is an indigenous community, right? We're an indigenous people. There's a lot of our leaders, our commissioners, our mayors who sit and they ignore us as we speak out every day in every way that we can. We serve our countries, we fight in every war, and here we are talking about generators and what it's gonna do to our community. We already know, you guys know the answer. Right? It's already happened and it's happening again. And we won't stand by and wait until there's another genocide and then it's our people who are suffering. There's 42,000 people here in Richmond County. Out of the 42,000 residents, 24,000 of them identify as Black or Indigenous here in Richmond County. We're well aware of our history. In 1866, there was a treaty that was signed here in Richmond County, right, by a lot of our grandfathers, and we were well aware of those treaties. Right, so we need DEQ as well as the other organizations who organize, I was going to say criminals, but the organizations, right, to actually listen to the people who are here. We don't need a data center here in Richmond County. We didn't ask for one. We don't need these generators either. It's a detriment to our society, to our community. And so we ask you today to make sure you listen to these residents, listen to the complaints of our residents and our community members, and really take some heed of what they're saying. This is really affecting our families, right? Period Foods happened about 30 years ago. We lost a lot of family members in that fire. 25 women lost their lives, right? And we will not forget them, and we can't forget that. And so we won't allow Amazon Data Center to come here and be the next big thing to our community. There's other choices. We have other choices that we can make in our community to bring back jobs and to make sure we bring back something for our children's future. So thank you.
All right, next up we have Ann Ingram, followed by Princess Lockhart.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Ann Ingram, and I'm a native here in Richmond County. I'm also a mother and a Richmond County Schools educator. I am concerned about what this proposed development could mean for our students' health and future. I am also a grandmother who has 3 children who are also students in the school system. Every child deserves to attend school, play outside, and grow up with clean air and safe drinking water. No permit should be approved until independent studies demonstrate that our schools, our families, and communities will not be harmed. Thank you.
All right, next we have Princess Lockhart, followed by Nellie Dumas.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Princess Lockhart. I am 19 years old and I am a Richmond County native and a Fayetteville Technical Community College student. As a young Richmond County resident who has battled asthma and other health concerns, I know how air quality can affect a person's education, daily life, and future. Young adults in our county already face limited access to local health care, and we should not be exposed to additional pollution from diesel generators, turbines, and industrial development. I am studying to become an obstetrician gynecologist because I want to care for future generations. And I believe protecting their health must begin with clean air and clean water today. Too often, young people are left out of conversations that shape our future. I believe our voices matter because we are the ones who will live with long-term effects of negative environmental decisions that this county has brought upon us. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Nellie Dumas, followed by Jennifer Richmond Bryan.
Good evening. To the board of commissioners, planning board, county executives, and all other governing parties, thank you for the opportunity to be heard this evening. My name is Nellie Dumas. I speak on behalf of my family. Having grown up in Hamlet, Marks Creek, Richmond County, North Carolina, on land that my father, a World War II veteran, purchased from Z.B. Page more than 80 years ago. We grew up on this land enjoying the beauty of our natural surroundings. The land that I'm referring to is 1 mile or less away from the Amazon Tech campus property. The campus is literally in our backyard. Although part of my family still lives and maintains homes on this land, and we pay property taxes to the county, no one, not one of us, received notification of the intent to have a data center constructed in such close proximity to our homes and our land. As of this morning, I received a call from my sister informing me that she had lost her landline power to her phone service and spectrum cable service due to lines that have been damaged by ongoing work on the Amazon Tech campus site. I'm sure this is just the beginning of interruptions, inconveniences, added to the already increased heavy equipment, traffic, and oversized trucks along Gallo Road, which runs in front of my sister's house. We expect there's going to be added air pollution and noise that will become increasingly worse in the future. They've also had problems with low water pressure and muddy/cloudy and cold water. Their water supply comes through the county water system. Considering that much of the infrastructure work involves laying up various fiber optic lines and electrical power lines, which cross existing water lines and power lines at some point, we feel there is a connection to some of the problems that we're having and are going to have. Marks Creek, over the years, seemingly has become a targeted area for projects that are known to destroy a wholesome and healthy environment. The attempt to move the county landfill into the Wayman Chapel community, even if it meant desecration of a cemetery, because that failed. Then came the groundwater pollution along with air pollution upon the arrival of chicken/turkey farm. The foul smell in the air have dissipated greatly since the chicken/turkey farm sold to Amazon and moved out of the area.
Ms. Demas, thank you very much for your comments. Out of respect for the registered speakers, we're going to need to move on to the next commenter.
Have I used 3 minutes?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, next we have Jennifer Richmond Bryant, followed by Angela Wilson.
My name is Jennifer Richmond Bryant. I'm an associate professor at North Carolina State University, where I teach and perform research related to human exposure to air pollution and air pollution measurement and characterization for community-based risk-supported research studies. My professional information is provided to assure you of my credentials. This public comment is provided in my personal capacity and at the invitation for the Richmond County Coalition for Justice and Black Empowerment. First of all, splitting the Amazon and Duke Energy emissions into two permits conceals the magnitude of the Energy Way Tech Campus's combined impact. It's appropriate that you're combining these hearings because we're talking about the same site. When you compare the emissions that are in the two permits to the 2024 emissions that are in the permit applications for the Duke site, let's see, NOx and carbon monoxide increased by 150%. PM10, PM2.5 projected at the same level are 100%, and VOCs are projected to increase by over 400%. To that point, when you look at the Amazon permit in particular, they describe the controls that would be used for NOx being selective catalytic conversion, and describe how that's reducing the emissions down to 667 tons per year. And then sort of inexplicably, it's then noted as the potential to emit as being less than 250 tons per year. There's no real rationale given for how that's accomplished. Similarly with carbon monoxide, the levels are shown to be reduced using diesel particulate filters down to 979 tons per year, and then somehow inexplicably that is listed as less than 250 tons per year as the potential to emit. So details have to be provided for how that's going to be accomplished and for that same site. Okay, so I don't have much time. I want to go on to the lack of monitoring. There is no monitoring, even though this is noted to be a attainment area. So the closest monitor is 30 miles away. I did some analysis with purple air sensors that are in the area using bias correction and under published methodologies, and showed that the annual average levels in the area are over 9 micrograms per cubic meter, which is the annual average standard. So DEAQ needs to bring a monitor in to actually demonstrate what the pre-construction levels look like and what the impact is going to be like afterwards. There's also no modeling of the criteria air pollutant impacts in the area. So we don't really know, we don't have a projection of what the anticipated concentrations to which people will be exposed in the community. None of that has been done. There has been modeling for air toxics, where we saw that ammonia levels would be increased over the AAL for that pollutant, and within 5% of the AALs otherwise. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next we have Angela Wilson. After that, we'll have Reverend Mac Leggington. Is Angela Wilson here? All right, is Reverend Mac Leggington here?
Good evening, I'm Reverend Mac Leggington, co-director of the Robeson County Cooperative Sustainable Development. And we have a 4-county students club hub that includes Robeson, Scotland, Beaufort, and Richmond County. I've been engaged in civic life and community ministry, including environmental and protection and promotion, for over 40 years. Over 30 years ago, I stood in this very courtroom more than once and testified before our state officials regarding the dangers of siting massive low-level radioactive waste facility near Hamlet. We researched and recommended a better waste management approach, safety plan, and a more suitable site elsewhere that was approved. This effort was able to protect the people of this county from a major form of harmful underdevelopment. Amazon and Duke Energy officials, speaking to them for a moment, I humbly suggest that you withdraw these two that requests 2 minor source permit recommendations for hazardous waste pollutants. If these 600 diesel fuel powered generators look similar, sound similar, smell the same, and release the same toxic fumes, they are the same. You cannot split a single hair. We humans are good at mincing words, justifying our positions and actions in deceptive ways. The difference between reason and treason is one letter. We rural people don't have good wigs, swear, that can be pulled over our eyes to obscure our vision and trick us. Have integrity and be responsible, Amazon Duke Energy, and reapply for a major source permit for hazardous waste pollutants. Now it's after DEQ. If Amazon and Duke Energy don't withdraw this improper permits, you have a responsibility to deny them. The over 600 combined generators meet the definition and threshold legally for requiring a major source permit. Lean on your backbone and fulfill your mission that in spite of politics, you protect the environment and public health and defend our people and the places we live against undue harm. Demonstrate your integrity and character and don't bend to the political wind. Why has construction of the proposed data center been allowed to begin prior to receiving all necessary permits to operate and resolve litigation challenges that may occur? If you have the power to halt or recommend that construction stop prior to all permits being received, I suggest that you do so. In my opinion, this practice in your acceptance is in release of breach of public trust. My last comment is this. Data centers need to be smaller and more responsible to scale and meet all the criteria of sustainability. They're not good neighbors for any community around the world, particularly communities like Hamlet that are already overburdened with polluters, no matter how they are wrapped, justified, and marketed. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Arthur Glenn Ingram Sr., followed by Joe Parfit.
Good evening, speaking on behalf of Richmond County Coalition for Justice and Black Empowerment, also for my family across the board. When I'm concerned to be on our health issues, air and water quality. The air that you breathe is called oxygen. It is clean air that enters your body for the organs to function properly and be healthy. But that is what we live and stay healthy off of, clean air. For what we exhale is called carbon monoxide or dioxide, we tell them first. And that's what these generators, Amazon, debating off of, that it will be clean, that they will have the catalytic converters to more or less clean up the exhaust fumes that it will be exhaling, which will still not be clean because every source has to have an exhaust system. And each exhaust system is dangerous, even when you call carbon monoxide or dioxide. It's poison. For instance, if you light a match, you hold it up to your mouth and nose, and you breathe in, it doesn't go out. But when you exhale, what it do? You stay with the fire. So that's what we're dealing with on the Amazon generator. They're telling us to still be clean, but it will still be dirty into our atmosphere. Another I want to tell is what I have here is carbon dioxide poison, which comes from our body, cannot be reused. But the water that enters our system has to be clean and not contaminated to live and be healthy. It also is a factor. It's only contaminated when it comes out of our body. That's why we have to have a sewer system. because it feels good anymore. Right? Okay, you follow me? So these Jefferson is a dynamite just waiting for the few to be lit. You know what I'm saying? So it's still going into the real world. Jefferson is what causing us to be unhealthy, very fumes and water. It's just a time bomb that's sitting out there waiting for all of us to agree upon, which we do not need. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Joe Parafit, followed by Amy Lynn.
Good evening. My name is Joe Parfit. I am running for the State House to be representing District 52, which is right here in Richmond County. Now, I am certain that a board of folks, not unlike yourself, sat in front of the residents of Hope and Cumberland counties when Timors began their activities. And we all saw how that turned out. The PFAS still pollutes the water there. Corporations do not have a good track record of being good stewards of the land here in North Carolina. The people here are justifiably concerned about the long-term effects on our home long after this data center is no longer profitable. Profit that will not go to the people of Richmond County, and negative effects that will not be paid by Amazon. Additionally, Duke Energy has no issue raising homeowners' rates to pay for the additional power use.
Hey folks, just a second. Please refrain from making noise over the recognized speakers. It's going to mess with the integrity of the recording. Thank you.
Unfortunately, none of us here can stop or even slow down the data center from going in. Only the legislature can. I am not yet convinced of the idea of data centers, but 78% of Americans are strongly opposed. If the data center is a good idea now, it will be a good idea next year. What we need is a moratorium on data centers in North Carolina until all of the data is in. By then, we can look at other communities that have data centers and see if they think it adds value to their homes. My name is Joe Parker. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Amy Lynn, followed by Luis Ball.
Good morning. My name is Amy Lynn. I'm here from West End, North Carolina. And I've spent a significant part of my adult life and education researching the policies and impacts that reckless corporate practices when they infiltrate vulnerable communities. And I'd like to call attention to some studies that have already been coming out of Virginia that reference the harmful effects that AI data centers are having on their communities, particularly when considering the air pollutants. They've estimated in a study done for Vantage Data Center in Virginia that between 53 million and 99 million in annual health damages from associated air pollution. And it is also estimated that 3.4 to 6.5 additional premature births per year across the impacted region, along with increased hospital admissions, asthma-related outcomes, and lost productivity. And while that particular study was in a community that had a much more dense population, I think it still provides data and information and a reason for concern to slow down and try to assess what the long-term impacts are, and particularly when we are dealing with an administration right some of the access to healthcare for these vulnerable communities. And so I would ask that we, again, whether it's moratorium or that it is simply that you deny this permit, that we consider the burden of proof to be that it is not harmful, and that before we go ahead and implement it in our communities. I'll stop there.
Okay, next we have Louis Ball, followed by Avis C. Johnson.
Hello there, I'm Louis Bell. I want to say happy new people. My concerns are really about the diesel engines. I've worked with diesel engines for many years. I know the effects, the initial startups, pollution, great pollution at startups. What concerns me most is the people nearby because of the toxics. I guess there would be harmful to these, especially the asthma, headaches, nauseousness that would be created greatly, especially within the first mile of this center. After that, it will be, it will start at zero, let's say. My biggest concern is because there's so many coming up. I just found out there will be 3 centers that are proposed. This one we're speaking on is for the Airport Road one, but the one near my family would be at the County Home Road proposal. That is also, I guess they bought the land, as far as I know. I just have great concerns because of the research I've done of people that are dealing with this kind of projects at this point. Not only their health has deteriorated, their children's harmed from just trying to learn as great obstacles. I feel sorry for some of these people, some of these parents of these small children, because you would not do any benefit to the local people here by allowing this to happen. So I ask you very strongly, deny this. This will harm people, especially the locals, violence to them. And I believe we're going to be next. And this kind of stuff really does. Thank you very much.
Okay, next speaker is Avis C. Johnson, followed by Jasmine Washington.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Avis Johnson. I'm a lifelong resident of Richmond County. I currently live in Hampton, and I don't have so much of a question as I do have a strong comment to make. And that is, we're here today about passing and approving these 2 acts. But the bigger decision has already been made. This is a small issue here. And we know what will be approved because billions of dollars have already been invested. You're not going to lose the investment. But what's important is that the people have to realize that we can't continue to allow big companies to kill us for profit. And that's the concern because I don't know your statistics, your research, your information, but I do have common sense enough to understand that we're just in the way because we can't come back billions of dollars and we don't have anyone financially able to represent us at a county. So the smaller, poor counties are being used and sacrificed scapegoat for profit. So you guys need to remember when you vote to think more about yourself. We got a party. That's right.
Okay, next we have Jasmine Washington, followed by Joanna Owensby.
Good evening. My name is Jasmine Washington, and I'm an attorney at the Southern Environmental Law Center. DAQ must deny the application and draft permits to Amazon and Duke. These draft permits incorrectly categorize the 600-plus generators that will power Amazon's data center as two separate synthetic miner permits. It is clear that these co-located generators are under common control and from the same facility. Mr. Russell Granville incorrectly stated in the opening that the bridge gap generators will be owned by Duke. That is not true. Duke Energy is leasing these generators from a manufacturer, which further demonstrates the common control for these systems. Therefore, DAQ must require Amazon to submit a new application for a single major stationary source. DAQ must also act to prevent significant deterioration of air quality in the communities around Amazon's proposed facility. Amazon and Duke seek to install these generators in a community that is already surrounded by pollution and faces many health disparities. 14% of the people in the town of Hamlet are disabled. The CDC has identified Dobbins Heights area as being highly vulnerable with elevated rates of asthma. Richmond County has severe healthcare shortages, higher than average rates of heart disease and cancer, and lower life expectancy. The surrounding area also includes disproportionately high numbers of young children and older people. These populations are especially susceptible to the negative health outcomes from acute and long-term exposure from the air pollution that these diesel generators will put out. These communities are also already burdened by air pollution from several existing operations. There are over a dozen air polluting facilities within 3 miles of the town of Hamlet and Dobbins Heights, and Amazon seeks to be added to that number. Under the Clean Air Act, DAQ has a responsibility to ensure compliance with the National Ambient Air Quality Standards and ensure areas of containment. Yet, here, the nearest regulatory air quality monitors are over 30 miles away. For this permitting action, the vulnerabilities identified in DAQ's own community profiles, along with the number of other polluting industries nearby and the lack of regulatory air monitors, more than warrant site-specific monitoring around Amazon's proposed facility. Throughout the draft permits, there are defects in emissions calculations, improper exemptions for operational limits, improper requirements for monitoring, record-keeping, reporting, and insufficient modeling. There is no excuse for cutting corners in this permitting action. Enough private conversations and deals have happened without public notice to lure Amazon's pollution into this community. While economic impacts are beyond the scope of this permit review, I implore that DAQ should not yield to industry pressure or rely on unsupported industry claims to relax regulatory standards in this permitting process, especially given the substantial public investments and tax incentives from the county and state that Amazon is receiving for speculative economic benefits. DAQ must ensure that those investments do not come at the cost of human health or the environment. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Joanna Owensby, followed by John Wagner.
Everybody's talking to people up here, but these are what matter. Okay, look around.
Excuse me, we're recording. Can you speak to the microphone so we can have your report if you want to be able to hear you in the recording? No, I'm sorry, the microphone.
Just count for 3 minutes.
We'll restart your minutes. But please speak into that center microphone so we can all hear you. Thank you.
So look around in this room. Okay, you don't see a bunch of suits. You don't see a bunch of upper class people. You don't see all your elected officials in here. You know, take a look around. I don't know exactly how many people are in here, but if you look up statistics, our county, over 20% of people are classified as poor. So they're picking on the poor folks because poor folks make more money to survive. Poor folks have less PTO. Poor folks work jobs that don't have PTO. So they can't get together to fight stuff like this. Because they can't miss work because they can't afford it. So the American Speech Language Association says 70 to 85 decibels is normal sound. Normal, acceptable, doesn't cause hearing loss sound. So one small generator is 85 decibels. So that's the top of that level, which is one of them, correct? The large generators are 100. So when one of those is cranked, you're already over what's normal. You're starting to affect hearing loss. You're starting to affect all the animals in the community. It stresses them out. It changes their migration patterns. It changes how they eat. So it changes the food that you're consuming if you're eating animals. You know, they just assume that people in poor communities are unintelligent and uneducated, and that they won't band together. All these data centers are going to the poor communities because we have less regulation, and we have more land available, and they expect less pushback. Because like I said, everybody's got to be at work because everybody's a survivor. So, you know, generators produce smog and particulate matter. And particulate matter is stuff that gets into your system, and the masks that these companies will probably hand out to the community, they're not going to be adequate. It's not the regular mask that you wear in the hospital. It's the N95 mask and stuff that you need to filter particulates. So, particulate matters increase asthma. Generators also increase respiratory and cardiovascular issues. They increase premature births, and we already don't have a birthing center in this county. You already have to go to the next county. So when you're having issues and you're in the middle of losing your baby, you can't even go here to save them. It's not true. Not true. So I have a healthcare background and a truck driving background, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about.
Amen.
And y'all said that these generators, they're going to be less than 500 hours per year, so that's 1.36 hours a day per generator. Who's going to monitor that? Who's going to say they're not running longer than that? Who's going to check the logs? Like you mentioned earlier, where's the baseline testing to know how we've been affected? We're just calling in the game. We're just a poor community that another $1 billion company is going to come in and corrupt.
Folks, I want to give a quick reminder to please refrain from making noise over the recognized speakers. We're recording this. We need to have an accurate record of all the comments that are made. So again, please refrain from making noise over the recognized speakers. Next up, we have John Wagner, followed by Hope Taylor.
And one thing, sorry for me to interrupt, if you want to show non-verbal support, like throwing your hands up in the air, jazz hands, you've seen some people in the audience do that, that is acceptable. Please feel free to do that, and that helps show your emotion, but it doesn't detract from the audio recording, okay? Thank you so much. Please be seated.
Good evening. My name is John Wagner, and I'm here representing myself and all my relatives in this county. I encourage everyone in the audience and everyone at DAQ to go to the government website, fire.airnow.gov. It's an interactive map, and then zoom in and look at the dot for Rockingham, North Carolina. They are outside today. It's not too bad. The Citizen Air Monitor shows moderate air quality. But it also says right there are no nearby measurements in proximity to this purple air sensor for comparison. This is extremely important. Before granting Amazon any air permit, DAQ needs to add calibrated regulatory air monitors close to Hamlet to collect existing baseline data before it's built and to monitor any new toxic releases. But going back to the moderate air quality that shows today, even at this level, the warning is, quote, unusually sensitive people should consider reducing outdoor activity. Go inside to cleaner air if you have symptoms. This is a problem. The people of Hamlet and Dobbins Heights are already unusually sensitive because of existing toxins and particulates from Viva and other industries. These vulnerable communities have existing disproportionate health problems and inadequate health care. In addition, North Carolina has increasingly common times of stagnant air, high-pressure heat domes that trap exhaust, particulates, and smoke, and periods of terrible lingering wildfire smoke. These conditions already are harmful for all the children, the elderly, and the people with pre-existing vulnerability. On top of that, imagine adding 600 diesel-fired generators running 24/7 that don't slow or stop down when the air is bad. These would release massive quantities of additional fine particulates, VOCs, nitrogen oxide, formaldehyde, and benzene. A DAQ allows this permit to be approved without independent air dispersion modeling. Don't rely on Duke and Amazon. Independent modeling without merging the generators from Duke and Amazon's Energy Way industrial wasteland generators into a single permit, without fence line monitoring, and without calibrated regulatory air monitors closer to the site, you will have shown total disregard for human life, environmental justice, and basic common decency. We don't need AI, we don't need data centers, and we don't need Amazon. We need healthy citizens and healthy children. Turn down Duke's permit and Amazon's permit. They're unacceptable.
Okay, next we have Hope Taylor, followed by Lib Hatchby.
Good evening. I'm Hope Taylor, Executive Director of Clean Water of North Carolina. We're a statewide environmental justice organization, meaning we work with communities that are low-income, communities of color, and which have already been disproportionately impacted. That makes these draft permits being considered in the midst of these vulnerable communities surrounded already by numerous air pollution sources with no pre-construction monitoring required, the very definition of a critical environmental justice issue. Based on the community profile of the AQ has all the information required to understand the need for extra due diligence to maximize review, research, and regulatory requirements to protect this community. But the AQ failed to request even a contract between Duke and Amazon for bridge power that would have revealed some critical information about the relationship between Amazon and the Duke generators. Instead, the AQ acquiesced to Duke and Amazon's request for separate permitting of two sets of generators, thus evading PSD considerations and adequate enforcement mechanisms for the voluntary limits that Amazon proposed. Clean Water for North Carolina says no to local approvals for projects where impacted residents have been deliberately kept in the dark. And we say no to these permits for Amazon and Duke that would impact the already degraded air quality and health of this community with no serious accountability. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Lib Hatchby, followed by Brenda Coble.
Thank you for listening. We hope you've taken some very good notes with us. I'm hearing some excellent concerns. I'm in Orange County, and that is one way that I'm getting here because I want to support my county who are here. I'm old enough to remember the Hamlet fire, and it's distressing. All of these people that are clapping, of course we're emotional. What do you expect? What do you expect from, I'm a breast cancer survivor. Do you not expect me to be emotional and understand that even one, if I had to smell one diesel truck, the fuel, emissions from one diesel truck, over and over and over and over again, what happened? I might have COPD then. So I just wanted to bring to your attention what you have already written. In your public hearing announcement that you handed out, we note the potential annual emissions per ton. Not just one truck that might say, oh, you know, that's so bad and this is not good for you. I'm a breast cancer survivor, for Pete's sake. Let us understand that Richmond County, the borough, should be respected. The residents here need to be understood and respected. They need to be listened to and respected. Their health needs to be respected. Their culture, their narrative, their history needs to be respected. This afternoon I had the opportunity to really get more emotional because I rode by the proposed site and I was like, how can you possibly allow this building when there's not even an air permit? There's not even a permission to do it and they're already building it. Can you please explain that to the public? I mean, we're not talking water now, that's a whole other issue. That's really close to the heart. Air to the mouth. We are grateful that we can even breathe. So you need to know, according to the World Health Organization, an article, how diesel emissions impact human health, results from diesel engines contain more than 40 toxic substances. These pollutants don't just disappear into the atmosphere, they enter our lungs and bloodstream. You must say no to these permits. Reducing diesel emissions creates healthier communities. North Carolina, DEQ, do your part and refuse these air permits. And thank you for the privilege of being in your county.
Okay, next speaker is Brenda Coble, followed by Lee Quick.
Hi, my name is Brenda Coble. My name is Brenda very long. I moved to North Carolina in 1988. I fell in love with the beauty and the people. Like others, we build our lives and put down roots. And I could retire one day and leave the world a better place for my grandkids. But I am concerned with many things around the data center. And tonight's meeting is about generators. Generators, as many others have said, put off the nitrogen oxide and carbon dioxide. Some are health risk, can cause lung damage, by releasing the soot into the air. There's a host of other harmful factors like triggering heart attacks and worsening existing cardiovascular conditions. One of the other things that bothers me about it is nitrogen oxide also reacts in sunlight to create ground level ozone that harms crops and native vegetation. Many people in Richmond County depend on their crops to provide income. And honestly, the data center just can't feed you. That's all.
Okay, next speaker is Lee Quick, followed by Laura Love.
Okay. Good afternoon to the panel. Thank you for coming to listen to my concerns. Like I said, my name is Lee Quick, and I live at 660 Guile Road. And if you look at your map, it is directly across from the Guile Road entry gate to the Amazon data center. And I would just like to say, I got 2 points I want to make. One, I don't recall any public hearing about when we got the data center. No one informed me or any of my neighbors that a data center was coming and that we could have got up and protested or viewed our opinions on that. I know that's gone and done, but I just want to put that on the record here to say that. The second thing is, when it comes to burning diesel fuel, now my experience with that was when the construction of the data center started. For 24 hours a day, for some 3 months, they burned the woods that were there using diesel that were there. It got to the point that I could not sit on my patio to where I enjoyed my morning coffee. I had to purchase 2 car covers to keep ashes from falling on my car. So I think, so if that's an indication of what burning diesel fuel is going to do, I urge you to vote no. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker is Laura Love. After that, Michelle Carter.
I'm Laura Love with the North Carolina Data Center Network. Amazon is not a beacon of American capitalism. It is a beacon of American extortion. Amazon will extort the life, the ability to live healthy, and breathe healthy out of the 42,000 residents of Richmond County. What is the price Amazon has to pay for the millions of tax breaks it will receive? 50 jobs. But there's no money for the millions of dollars in bills Richmond County residents will whack up through increased asthma, COPD, and other breathing issues, and the sicknesses that will cascade from these. Amazon has long been known for its ruthless capitalistic tactics. For example, during COVID, it raised their worker salaries by $2, only to take that $2 away when the pandemic ended. Even though the workers were essential for them to turn in record profits. Amazon will do the same to Richmond County, use it up and toss it aside. Amazon cannot be trusted by its workers, it cannot be trusted by Richmond County. The data center does not need to run on 590 generators, not backup generators, primary source generators. Why does Amazon need these generators for its primary source power? Quite simply, it will not wait for less polluting turbines to arrive. Turbines are in backlog due to the proliferation of data centers nationwide. Instead, they want to be like Elon Musk, who uses diesel generators and rains down acid rain noxious fumes on a historically backed neighborhood in Memphis. Amazon wants to do the same here. 49,000 people's long-term health, not only in this county, but beyond, will be affected. Just like Amazon extorts the United States, now Amazon is going to extort Richmond County.
Okay, next speaker is Michelle Carter, followed by Ashley Hilliard.
Good evening. My name is Keisha Carter, and I'm the Director of Clean Energy Campaigns at the North Carolina League of Conservation Voters. Please first accept my very small thanks for pushing back against Amazon's initial request to prevent the public from viewing the contents of this permit. According to DAQ records, Amazon requested confidentiality for this facility, which is clearly an attempt to hide detrimental information from Richmond County community members. Amazon and Duke Energy say their 2 sets of generators are separate projects, which lets them follow easier pollution rules and avoid using the strongest pollution controls. Considering Amazon is already building this facility down the road, they clearly have no care for air quality or for the community that they are entering into. These permits show an intentional avoidance of stronger air quality guidelines on how these generators are divided between Duke and Amazon. Just one permit with emissions limits of 2, 4, 9, for 1.7 gigawatts of potential generation at full load, which is roughly equivalent to 2 entire gas-fired power plants. In these permit applications, DAQ is allowing corporations to scheme for their own financial benefit while ignoring the severe impacts coming to a community that is already struggling. In page 45 of DAQ's current review for Duke Energy, Duke states that this generation is, and I quote, in support of electric demands for the general grid, yet in the same paragraph states that these engines will be dedicated and used to a single customer. These generations are paid for by Amazon, will be turned on and off at the request of Amazon, and will be placed on site for the needs of Amazon. These generations wouldn't even be coming to town if Amazon didn't need them. Therefore, I believe DAQ's assessment that these generators are not under joint control is in error, and these generators should be in one major source permit application. Both of these projects should be resubmitted and considered jointly under Title V and ESB major source requirements. To be clear, computer servers do not breathe this air. Neither do the Amazon employees in Seattle or the Duke employees in Charlotte who submitted this application. I've asked you this before on a pipeline, and I'll say it again. I'm asking DAQ employees to be brave, to do the right thing and the legal thing for our air, for our communities, and for our future. Deny this permit application.
Okay, next speaker is Ashley Hilliard, followed by Dr. Rania Masri.
Thank you, DEQ, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Ashley Miller, and I'm the North Carolina Field Organizer for Boston Air Force, a community of moms, dads, and caregivers united to protect children's health from air pollution, toxic chemicals, and a changing climate. I'm here today on behalf of nearly 80,000 North Carolina members because children deserve clean air. And this proposal raises serious concerns about exposing families to pollution. 592 emergency generators and Duke Energy's proposed installation of 57 non-emergency generators is the equivalent of 2 gas-fired power plants and creates air pollution that threatens children's health. Adding hundreds of diesel engines, even as emergency units, increases the historic burdens and the cumulative adverse impacts to a region already facing air quality challenges. The area around the proposed data center site has a higher than average population of children under 5. Nearly 1 in 8 people are children under 5, which is more than double the state percentage. Pollution from diesel generators can increase the risk of heart disease, lung disease, asthma attacks, neurological issues, and cancer. Children developing babies are at the greatest risk from these toxic emissions. Use of diesel generators can increase local exposure to air pollution such as nitrogen oxides, sulfur dioxide, volatile organic compounds, and particulate matter. Families have a right to know how a project like this could affect the air their children breathe. Communities deserve complete information on the project's full air pollution footprint and meaningful opportunities to participate before decisions are made and before construction begins. Children developing babies are uniquely vulnerable to air pollution because their lungs, brains, and other body systems are still developing. They also breathe more air for every pound of body weight than adults, meaning they can take in more harmful pollution relative to their size. Exposure during these critical stages of development can have lifelong consequences for their health. They can't choose where they live, learn, or play, so it is the responsibility of decision makers to ensure the air they breathe is safe. Moms Clean Air Force urges DEQ to deny these permits because they fail to adequately protect children's health. If DEQ nevertheless decides to move forward, the permits should at minimum require the strongest available pollution controls for every diesel generator, including at least Tier 4 standards, limit generator operation to true emergencies only, require independent continuous fence line air monitoring with publicly available results and prompt enforcement when pollution limits are exceeded, ensure enforceable permit conditions for monitoring and accountability, ensure communities have complete and transparent information on the project's full air pollution footprint. Children deserve clean air. Until DEQ can ensure these permits fully protect children's health from the pollution associated with hundreds of diesel generators, and until the community has complete information and meaningful opportunities to participate in decisions affecting the air they breathe, these permits should not be approved. Thank you.
Next speaker is Dr. Rania Masri, followed by Jackie Colthard, and I'm apologizing if I'm misreading that next one.
name is Danielle Steve, co-director of the North Carolina Environmental Justice Network. I am here because what happens in Richmond County impacts us all in North Carolina. And harm to one of us in North Carolina is harm to all of us in North Carolina. Based on the clear science, based on a framework of justice, I ask the DAQ to deny not only the separation of these permits, but to also deny both these permits for the 649 diesel generators. Why? To protect the air quality of the residents. These diesel generators will release additional pollutants and toxins that cause asthma, cancer, heart attacks, and cognitive decline. According to published studies, in 4 years, air pollution from data centers alone would cause an additional 600,000 asthma cases annually in this country and an estimated 1,300 deaths. Is this what you want to bring to this county? These diesel generators will literally make it difficult for residents in Richmond County to breathe. Amazon's own report concluded that Richmond County is, quote, within the 2 least healthy ranges for the state in terms of health and well-being. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention describe this county, where the facility is located, as, quote, highly burdened by pollution. Do you want to burden this county even further? A county that has already lost half its hospitals to simply benefit the billionaires of Amazon and Duke Energy rather than the residents of this county and this state. Keep in mind, records have shown annual public health costs from data center-related energy use could reach up to $9 billion annually. I ask you to also deny these permits to protect the validity of DEQ and DAQ. Amazon has already started construction, presuming these permits will be granted exactly as they have applied for. The ongoing construction is a significant violation of federal and state law. For that reason alone, these permits should be denied. All of this is already known, and it isn't even the full extent of the harm of these diesel generators. These generators will also pollute the water, create harmful noise pollution, and significantly reduce the living standards of the residents in Richmond County and beyond. DEQ is charged with, I quote, providing science-based environmental stewardship for the health and prosperity of all North Carolinians. Follow the science, not the money. DEQ is charged with the protection of the environment. Say no to the permits for this toxic extractive industry. Say no to both these permits. Say yes to the science. Say yes to public health. Yes.
Okay, next speaker is Jackie. My apologies.
Some of y'all might know my family, the Coulthers, have been part of the senior also the Daniels. We've had property 94 County Home Road since the early 1900s. We see that as ancestral land. That is exactly where a gas center is supposed to go. And what we don't understand is why, under North Carolina law, we were supposed to be spoken to. And there were supposed to be very big, huge, like there used to be, banners telling us that we were supposed to show up at a public hearing to be able to discuss this with our commissioners, right? We were supposed to be able to be represented by people. We were supposed to be able to have those people then turn around and how are they nip this in the bud for us? Y'all should already, I'm not from Richmond County, I'm not from Montgomery County, I'm not Asheville. But my brother lives here, and a lot of the people that I know that I went to high school for all 2 seconds are here. And the thing that I think is y'all need to realize some of these data centers are going in, they don't even have people that are going to rent this yet. They can destroy all of your land, like Amazon is doing with absolutely no reason, and they turn around and it becomes a ghost town. Because if y'all remember 2008, I remember because I was a medic in Charlotte, and I'm here to tell you right now, there was a skyscraper that sat with nothing in it except for plastic going like this for 4 years because of the bubble bursting. We all know that the bubbles about to burst. Why can't we put a moratorium on something? If we want to talk about it in the first place, they should hold off. We shouldn't even be at this point. We should be in a public hearing with people that you voted in, sitting there and listening to what you have to say. No offense to y'all, but y'all are our voted in people. Those are the people that need to be here, and they need to be listening to you. And you guys are underpaid. You guys, I do believe that you're underfunded, so you don't have the people to be able to come out here and watch out for these people in the first place. So we've got to do something to make sure that these children of all these people don't end up just like some kind of a bad 80s movie, talking about nuclear waste and everything. We need this gone. Or we at least need to be talked to about it. This is our land, not theirs.
That's right.
All right, y'all.
Next speaker is Dante Strobino, followed by Larry Almond. Dante left. Okay, Larry Almond, followed by Gopal Shudapar.
Larry Alden from Richmond County, been here a long time, resident of Taxpayer, and come out here, and I live across 3 miles from the center there, and it's like I already hear the noise from the turbines, and I can only hear it getting worse. In a place that me and my wife built, would soon retire and try to enjoy, but we can't do that. And that's my concern, is the noise, the air pollution we will have, even the water pollution. Richmond County, we have water all over to the county lines, depending on the wells. And the pollution is not just going to go in the air, if it goes in the air, it's going to come down. So it's going to do, it's going to affect our soil, and getting on the wells. And then water is going out in rural areas to move there for a reason. Looking to retire, enjoy life. And now we got to hear these generators run, and then once the generators run, then we hear the turbines run, and the children power school these data centers. So the purpose is just one step, but once this is temporary, it turns into permanent.
Yeah.
And this is where we'll be at. From now on, we'll hear this. I mean, I was looking to retire. Now I'm looking for a new resident. You know, and that's where Richmond County will leave people leave, and these people move here. And that's how I see it. That's only my view, but every one of us has got an opinion. And that's all I need to say. Thank you.
Next speaker is Gopal Shudapar, sorry, and after that it'll be Russell Finham.
Good evening, folks. Thank you, DQ, for giving me the opportunity to come here and speak on myself, speaking for myself, on the organization. I'm a mechanical engineer by profession and appreciate the detailed reports that were provided, along with all the information for permits. My understanding is that during construction, the few generators will provide bridge power, and they'll be limited to no more than 100 operations, so that was clear. Also, after the commissioning is done, they will be powered by the power plants which currently exist in the transmission line which is going to be built. Right? So after the construction, I see 2 different scenarios. One is during emergency and one during non-emergency. So during non-emergency situations, it will be running from the grid power, in my understanding. During emergencies, the Amazon generators will kick in and produce the backup power, which is the intended purpose of the backup generators. The specific question I have is, during emergencies, when the generator is running, is there some data as to what the emergency's duration will be? How long have you seen the power go out? How long have you seen fluctuations, so that we can quantify, or you guys can quantify the amount of emissions that will happen during those emergencies? Because That's typically the duration they'll operate. During non-emergencies, it's going to be limited to 100 hours, it's going to be low run time, but excluding the time period when the emergencies are happening. So what is the reliability of the new power plant in terms of operation? Because that's going to dictate how long the emergency generator is going to run in the underlying unit. So that's a specific question I had. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Russell Finham, followed by... Yeah, and after this, we'll have Luna Homsey.
Yes. This stuff's too technical, okay? I don't see ever talk about it. I have some written remarks that I want to enter into the record. You want to take the court? Who's the court?
So if you have written remarks, you can put them in that bin right there.
You accept these written remarks as stated. Now, just like to say that Richmond County is a very underserved county. We have very few medical people. No one wants to come here because there's nothing to do in support county. Richmond County is a low poverty county, and as everybody else has said, the CDC is isolated this. Richmond County has ozone. We have it in the plant garden that in the Rockingham and Hampton area we have a successful garden that I know in 4 years. And this diesel generators is going to add to that problem. Can't drink the water. The EPA says the water is fine, but I'll give you a water report of all of our waters. Our water is toxic, according to EWG. And that's the last water report for 2024 they ever received in one system. We don't know how we got here. Look at these people, they feel unrepresented. We really don't know how we got here. We're standing here today because you're asking, because Duke Power and Amazon is asking to modify the permit that's already been issued up here, apparently. We're asking you today to turn that modification down. I want you to know that this is the first public hearing that the people of Richmond County has been allowed to go to, and this data center is being built. The data center was built in secret under a code name, Blue Marlin, and the Richmond County Commissioners advocated their authority by approving this data center without proper authority and consent. We're asking you to right that wrong. If you don't right that wrong, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Our people are going to get sicker. They're getting very sick. You see, I'm not very good. And we're going to die. A lot of people are going to die. A lot of people die now. And when they die, it's going to be just like you stuck a gun in their head. I'm asking you, I'm imploring you by God that everything is holy. For you to turn down this permit and make them go along with whatever it is that they've already approved, and then stay there right now. We don't have the money for it, all you're for more to do, okay? Thank you very much.
Okay, next speaker is Luna Homsey, followed by Melissa Strout.
Good evening, my name is Luna Homsey. I'm the Environmental Health Manager with the North Carolina Innovation Network. We're a network of environmental community organizations across the state and have volunteers who represent all of North Carolina. I'm speaking today out of concern over both the Amazon 25A and Duke Richmond 26C permit, which we believe is North Carolina's first hyperscale data center. If approved, those 649 revenues will release hundreds of tons of pollutants into the air in an already overburdened community and further compound existing cumulative impacts. Like many of the speakers before me have mentioned, Amazon together has submitted separate permits, one for permanent backup generation and another for the floating storage power. This is not a credible way to permit this project. Just up north, in Virginia, Amazon has received permits for 5 data centers since June 1st. One didn't mention transitory generators at all, but the other 4 evaluated transitory and permanent generators in the same permits. The emissions are for a single permit, the Amazon data center. And that will affect neighbors and community members as one exposure, not 2. So So the issue permit is you should deny these permits and require that Amazon seek a single permit for all of the generators at once. Any new permit should prove that emissions will not cause or contribute to air pollution that exceed any national ambient air quality standards. If DEQ does someday issue a permit for this project, the agency should include enforceable provisions that protect the residents of Hamlet and Richland County, including, as many like members of tonight mentioned, a state airline order in Hamlet requiring meaningful sampling and reporting of emissions from the data center among other emission sources. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker is Melissa Stroop, followed by Johnny Brigman.
Hi, I am Melissa Stroop. I am not originally from Richland County, but I am a born and raised North Carolina girl. I've lived all over this state. I was a truck driver for 5 years with my husband. Got cancer, I beat it, I survived. I wanted to retire in Richland County. I found a nice little place in Hamlet because I do have family in Bordeaux. That little piece of property is just an acre. My house is 2,200 square feet, 4 years old. We bought it in 2024. The very next year, the data center was started. We didn't know anything about it. You think I would have paid $300,000 for my dream home if I would have known there was going to be a data center in my backyard that's less than 5 feet from the corner of my property? It's already vibrating my foundation, my walls, my windows. It's already loud. So when it starts and the generators start, imagine what it's going to do to the rest of the residents. I live on a little dirt road. That's the name of the road, dirt road, right? I love it. Absolutely did love it. But now I want to sell my home. This was supposed to be my retirement home. And now I'm going to have to sell it. Because I don't want that in my backyard. I mean, would any commissioners that voted for this, vote for this, would you want it in your backyard?
It's not in their backyard.
Exactly. So I know nobody really cares because we're just little people. But we do have souls. Now, I want to sell my house. I want to put it on the market. Probably by August. How is this going to impact the selling of my home?
All right, next speaker is Joni Brigman, followed by Whitney Franco.
Good afternoon, my name is Johnny Brigman. I was born and raised in Hamlet. I appreciate the opportunity to let us all here tonight offer our comments due to lack of relevant for these facilities were put in place. So thank you. I wear many hats as a professional. I have a real estate license, so I'm obligated to discuss the material facts on property on listing and selling. Anyway, I have a working on a home inspector license specializing in collecting specimens for homes, so I understand where industrial hygienist for air quality. That's not my expertise, that is yours. So a public health hygienist holding a Master of Science in Healthcare Administration work with the state of North Carolina covering 9 counties and understand where data and statistics are vital and collected when they're trying to prove there's a need for a health program. With everything in my area of expertise, I'm here tonight to bring you concerns before you issue permits for air quality. Air quality is a major concern to me. I have a family member with cystic fibrosis. We also have many residents of the county already with chronic upper respiratory diseases and cancers that are unknown source. My educated guess might be guessing that unknown pollutants. Per North Carolina DHHS website, state cancer profiles, we are at 95% rising trend, showing 1 in 38 people yearly will be diagnosed with new cancer. Keep in mind, these last reports were from 2022. We're one of the top 20 counties in the state with high cancer rates. I can imagine where we are now with 2026 with any other industries not being implemented yet. I'm trying to educate myself on a lot of this on your website as well, so please correct me if I'm wrong. That being said, there are 2 of your monitors within within 75 miles of this county, one in Mecklenburg and one in Cumberland County. The one in Mecklenburg has already exceeded and shown that they have not been compliant and violated the own set of air quality, being over the violation of the 8-hour standard established. Cumberland County is not far behind. We have no real-time data here in Richmond County to prove what's truly in stake for us. I know that these entities in place maintain their own data, but that is for the surrounding parameter of their companies, not the pollutants that are expelled by wind and environmental factors. I know how data can be skewed from human error and computer error. I know I'm working it. So with all due respect, once again, we have no real-time data here to abide by yet before issuing these permits. Purple air is the only hyper-real-time that is used for fire, smoke, and wind information. One of these is positioned at the top of the county and the bottom of the county, and there is a disclaimer from you stating that the NC Division of Air Quality is not responsible for citing or operating purple air sensors. We cannot verify or validate this data. My request and concerns are, please, before you go forward with this permit, don't about federal emissions policies that are obviously not compliant as well. We have all been let down by the standards numerous times. It is time to gather your own air quality information here in this county and produce your own studies so there can be higher restrictions put in place, with our county being deemed zoned as an industrial county. Please prove to us that we are going to be okay and not going to be guinea pigs. Because after all is put in place, you provide these permits, there's no backtracking. The damage is done. Diesel generators that size of trucks running 24/7 for a solid year before the power grid is put in place. We really need real time on these emissions. And they, in this county, I just don't trust Duke Power with their reports on this. Duke Power has already proven their negligence in cutting the main power source, disabling the entire county, including another power company, PD Electric, putting this entire county in candy mode. They put every first responder and every citizen and business owner here in Jefferson.
Mr. Brigham.
I understand everyone comes forward with their statements, this report.
Ms. Brigham.
And please take every bit of data that you have and everybody's comments tonight, use your expertise before we have a catastrophic event here.
Okay, our next speaker is Whitney Franco.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Whitney Franco. I've lived here my whole life. You've heard the data, you've heard, everybody can research that on their own. But I'm just asking you guys to please consider the people here. We're not just numbers, we're not just statistics. This is not just another rural community that can be a guinea pig. We have children that we care about, that elderly that my parents both have COPD. My nephew has asthma. And we're not even talking about all the other things that I would love to talk about. We're talking about air quality. Just speaking on air quality, as many of them have already stated, our air quality is not the best already due to other environmental factors. I just urge you guys to consider the people here. We're human beings. We're not just another number, another factor. We are actual human beings here. I'm terrified. This has been a huge stressor for me and my family. I'm already concerned about existing conditions, and this is just going to make everything worse. We're constantly plagued. Our food is poison. Our vaccines are poison. Our medications are poison. We are constantly being poisoned all the time from everything. We have no consent. Where is the consent? We're human beings. We deserve consent. We deserve to be, for things to be shared with us, for us to be able to make decisions about, we live here. We make up. This place wouldn't exist without the people that live here. We should be a factor in the decision-making process. We were not consulted. No consent was given. We deserve the chance to be, like somebody said earlier, if it's a good idea now, it will be a good idea here when we have more data on the impact that this is going to have on the health and well-being of everybody in this community. I just urge you guys to please take that into consideration, because there's not a lot of people here tonight, but there's so many people here that are truly and deeply concerned about this. Please take that into consideration. Along with science and data and statistics, not just our opinions and our fears and our concerns, but there's tons of information already out there on the current implications of data centers, and I just ask you guys to please consider that. Thank you.
Okay, next speaker is November Kofi?
Yep,
Coffee, followed by Billy Ademi.
not sure if you have someone who's, but here's the deal. We're terrified. Like everybody that is terrified, and I personally know of 1,000 more people in town that are literally terrified. Okay, because we don't know what all this means. I don't know if y'all know what it means, and if you do, I hope that somebody says enlighten us, but we don't know what all this means. We didn't get told about the Amazon Center, it was done in secret, blah, 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 all of that. I don't know if that's relevant to you, but the county manager was flying around on one of the jets and guys jets to the church of Caicos. And here we are, like, what? What are we building here? So here's the deal. The diesel, those open air diesel generators, everybody knows they're not. They're literally cancer benzene blowing machines. And they blow, literally, they don't go up very high on these diesel generators. They're the size of semi. And it all comes down because diesel is the most toxic, heaviest fuel known to man. So here's the thing. Can we please stop? Just stop. I know Amazon's permit. I know anybody can build something secure. The sooner you get it built, the sooner you can get the contract. Okay. We're not ready for that. And nobody knows on the answer. So can we just settle down a little bit? Amazon is a $2.5 trillion company. Trillion. With a T. Two is a multi-billion dollar company. They can afford cleaner energy. What Richmond County can afford is another six-figure number. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next speaker is Billy Hidimi, followed by Diane Sweeney, I think. Is Billy Hidimi here? Okay, and this next one, I think it's Deanne or Dan Sweetens. Okay.
I just have a couple of questions I'd like contemplated. One, are our county commissioners here? And who's here? How many of you are on the panel with our Richmond County? Could you raise your hands? Okay. Who on this panel is going to arbitrarily kind of make the decision as to whether or not the citizens of Richmond County? And this is not to be on the defensive. I'm here as a representative for conscious communities. We are about raising awareness, increasing accessibility, and being accountable so that we can expect accountability. Do you know the regional environmental director from Fayette? She would be the connector of our boards here with you all in environmental health. She's at the regional office in Fayetteville. And the reason that I ask is we want to know how committed are you to collaborating with the citizens in Richmond County. We have been at the governor's office. We've talked to Tina Vicione, to Nate Bennett, to Ms. Hale, Mr. and Mrs. Hale. So we want to know how committed you are to speaking with us, because as you can read the request for the permits, that language doesn't mean much to those of us that are farming, in the medical field, civil servants. We need layman's terms. And if we could just make sure that we have committed research and development. We've been giving the runaround when it comes to, I've attended AWS's job thing in RCC. The young lady told me that she was going to get the information to the higher ups. We have a model that not only deals with AI governance, but down to the very dirt that we walk on. We have got to look at energy conservation, at water recycling, and water maintenance. So I'd like to know when you all can commit to meeting with us, a static date, and the governor created task forces for this very thing. So are you all in alignment with their incentives? We need a static date. And you all have the ability to vote this out. Whole Richmond County should be here. And it's a shame that we're not. time, please consider those things, because if you aren't from here, then you're not going to be impacted the same way that we are researching them. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to circle back. I had a couple folks that had signed up to speak that I called earlier that did not seem to be present, and I'm just going to check to see if they're here. Dante Strabino. Okay. And Angela Wilson. And finally, Billy Ademi. Okay, thank you. That is all of the names I have for those registered to speak. If you did not speak tonight and still want to provide comments on the draft air quality permit for the Amazon Data Services, Inc. Energy Waytech campus, or the draft air quality permit for Duke Energy Progress, LLC, Richmond County Turbines, or both, there are several other ways to provide comments until the end of the comment period on Friday, July 31st, 2026. You may call 919-707-8726 and leave a voicemail message with your first and last name, whom you're representing, and state your comments. You can provide written comments via email to daq.publiccomments@deq.nc.gov with Amazon.25A and DukeRichmond.26C in the subject line. You can use the postal mail to submit written comments to the address listed in the public notice. Mailed comments must be postmarked by Friday, July 31st, 2026. You may also submit written comments tonight in the box placed near the microphone. Based on the information received during tonight's public hearing and comments received throughout the comment period, I will make a recommendation to the Director of the Division of Air Quality for his consideration in making a final decision on the draft air quality permit for the Amazon Data Services Energy Waytech campus and the draft air quality permit for Duke Energy Progress, LLC, Richmond County Turbines. Thank you all for your cooperation, attendance, and interest in the air quality permitting process. This public hearing is now adjourned.